What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crypto Sherpa Show, where I cover the latest cryptocurrency news articles to keep you informed on what's going on. And sorry, I'm kind of out of breath right now. I am moving around like nonstop because we have lots going on here at the Crypto Club. We are now going to be doing our crypto classes outside on stage. So if you want to attend any of our educated programs we have, they're all recorded. They're on our website. You just got to be a member of the Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club, any one of our locations. We have here in Sarasota, we got Nashville, we got Massachusetts, we got Dallas, we got Vegas, and many more coming down the road. We're so close to West Palm Beach. We're going to take out Scottsdale and St. Louis. So we plan to open up at least 30 locations within the next 2 years. So if there's not one near you, don't worry. Sign up to any of the clubs near you, but there may be a club near you because we have tons of programs that you can take advantage of, even if you're not near a Bitcoin Bend crypto club. Let's check out those programs. Go to bitcoinbend.io and you should be all good. But yeah, let's get to the news today. What is going on? What did I even title this? I cannot remember. Yeah, it was like Bitcoin gets stronger as the dollar weakens, and that's just in the code because like everyone evaluates Bitcoin as like they compare it to the dollar. So when the dollar's purchasing power goes down, that pushes Bitcoin's price up. So it's just in the code. So yeah, so I have a couple articles showcasing like Bitcoin will gain because the dollar weakens because of bond yields as they climb and whatnot. And then we also have a lot of adoption news going for you. So a little less news than yesterday because man, I was playing catch up. But let's dive right on in. And we got a chat in the comment already. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Stephen, what is up? Welcome to the channel. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing great. And Gary, thank you for being here. But yeah, let's go through the news and learn about what is happening in Bitcoin. So first up, Bitcoin may gain as dollar drops and bond yields climb, says an expert. So a weaker US dollar and a rising long-term bonds yield are fueling expectations that Bitcoin could see renewed gains, says an analyst. So a weakening US dollar, rising governance risks, and yield curve steepening are creating bullish narratives for Bitcoin. According to a Thursday investment note from Singapore-based QCP Capital, the US dollar index, which tracks the value of the US dollars relative to a basket of foreign currency, has shed 11% of its value since the first half of this year and is currently hovering around a 98.23. Now, this is the largest decline since 1973, more than 50 years ago, Stephen Gregory, founder of crypto trading platform vTrader, told Decrypt. Now, with gold hitting an all-time high of $3,578 on September 3rd, Gregory said that it is evident that the U.S. institutions are hedging the declining dollar. The liquidity from gold is likely to follow into fixed supply assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's not a fixed supply. That one keeps printing, but Bitcoin, that is hard capped at 21 million tokens. That is it. Now, the decline in the US dollar comes amid a bond market sell-off, with experts citing inflation concerns as the primary reason for the surge in the 30-year yields across the US, the UK, and Australia, even as well as Japan. Now, it's really unusual for a 30-year Treasury yield to rise in a Fed easing cycle, said Robin Brooks, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institutions of Global Economy and Development Program. And they tweeted on Wednesday that many countries previously shifted their debt issuance to short-term maturities, leading to a global increase in long-term government bond yields. Brooks noted in a subsequent tweet a move that may be coming back to haunt us. Now, in addition to maintaining a focus on short-term maturities, most central banks worldwide have already begun easing or anticipating further easing, thereby keeping the front end anchored. Now, the recent bond sell-off, however, has widened the gap between short and long-term yields, steepening the yield curve. In other words, investors are demanding higher returns to lend money for longer periods of time. Now, adding to this complex mix are growing concerns about the Federal Reserve's independence. President Donald Trump has repeatedly applied pressure to the Fed Chair Jerome Powell to lower rates this year in an effort to service the U.S. high levels on interest rates on sovereign debt. And we could be getting rate cuts. It's like a high priority. Like yesterday, we saw a tweet, I forgot which governor or counselor who said it, but they were kind of expecting multiple cuts to go on just to steepen this crisis. Now, according to QCP, that fear is why the premiums remain higher at the long end, causing the yield curve to steepen. Now, a steepening yield curve signals rising inflation expectations, but it can also signal that investors believe the economy will grow, said Gregory. Now, with inflation on the rise, risk assets like Bitcoin tend to outperform the market, he explained. Perhaps this is the perfect backdrop for the crypto supercycle. Oh, I'm hoping for the supercycle. And Bitcoin's year-to-date returns hovers around 96% down nearly 11% from its record high of $124,545. And that data came from CoinGecko. Now, gold, however, hit an all-time high of $3,578 on Tuesday and is up 35% this year. So who was it in here that was saying that, like, yeah, the government's like moving into gold, but that will slowly trickle into Bitcoin, most likely. So that's what they said here. But again, yeah, as the dollar gets weakened, Bitcoin grows in value. And that's just because it's in the code. That's what it's meant to do. Now going off of that news article, let's go into some more U.S. adoption news and how the U.S. crypto adoption is on the rise and regulatory momentum is because of it. Now, the U.S. has jumped from 4th place to 2nd place in Chain Analysis Global Crypto Adoption Index by the APAC region's lead row. So yeah, number 2. Who's number 1? I wonder how long it's going to take us to get there. But again, since Trump became president, we got more clarity on rules and regulations. So more adoption is happening. And we get it every day in the news if you watch my channel. That just this bank's adopting it because it was U.S. Bank yesterday. This government or country, I got 2 articles talking about like they're easing up on regulations as well. But let's go through this article and just talk about this right now. The United States has climbed to 2nd place in the Chain Analysis 2025 Global Crypto Adoption Index, jumping from 4th position last year as regulatory clarity around Bitcoin ETFs and stablecoins drove institutional demand to new heights. Meanwhile, India retained its crown for the 3rd consecutive year, maintaining dominance across all 4 metrics tracked by the blockchain analytics firm Chain Analysis. Now, the top 10 countries by overall crypto adoption are India, the United States, Pakistan, Vietnam, Brazil, Nigeria, Indonesia, Ukraine, the Philippines, and Russia. Now, Ashish Singhal, co-founder of CoinSwitch, told Cointelegraph that he's incredibly proud to see India at the top of the global crypto adoption index, creating millions of young, curious, digitally savvy Indians for shaping the future. And like since I've been in crypto, like as all the news and everything I saw from India wasn't that great. They were very strict on their taxes, but it looks like it. But turns out they're still in the top country, one of the top countries still for crypto adoption out there, even though they had such strict and harsh rules on taxation there. But that's always good to know, and he's proud of it. Now, the annual index, which tracks grassroots crypto adoption across 151 countries, reveals a global landscape where regulatory momentum in developed markets is colliding with utility-driven adoption in emerging economies. Now, Chain Analysis overhauled its methodology to better capture today's market structure by dropping a retail DeFi sub-index and then adding an institutional activity lens that counts transfers over $1 million. Now, the report found that American institutions leverage regulatory clarity for Bitcoin ETFs, while Asia-Pacific population used crypto for remittances and financial access that traditional banks just cannot provide them, despite restrictive regulations. Now, APAC's crypto adoption wave. So Asia-Pacific emerged as the fastest growing region, with transaction volume surging 69% year over year to $2.36 trillion, up from last year's 27% growth. And as India, Pakistan, and Vietnam drove adoption across centralized and decentralized platforms out there, Kim Guru, chief economist at Chain Analysis, told Decrypt that remittances, savings, and investments needs can drive crypto's demand. Now, in emerging markets with fragmented regulations such as India, Pakistan, and Vietnam, grassroots crypto adoption will tend to follow where these real-world needs exist and are pressing even where regulatory conditions are not facilitated, she said. Now, research by Indian think tanks such as the Isaiah Center suggests that policy measures including the tax deducted at a source regime and the blocking of offshore exchanges have not materially dampened underlying crypto engagement across the country and massive user base, said Guru. So like even though they had the tax deduction and then blocking offshore exchanges at all, it didn't stop adoption. People were still able to use it out there, so it didn't stifle it at all. Now, renewed institutional interest is among us right now too as well. North America's 49% growth compared to the 42% last year reflected a renewed institutional interest and bolstered by the launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs and an increased regulatory clarity, according to the report. And like I said, it's like we finally got regulations and rules coming into place, because back then they had Operation Chokepoint 2.0 where banks can't even touch crypto at all. And then also it's like they just didn't tell you like what was right and what was wrong. It's like, oh, well, go for it. Start your business. Do this, except Bitcoin, crypto. But I'm going to tell you you're doing something wrong, but I'm not going to tell you if you're doing it right now. So like it just stopped people from even wanting to do business. They moved overseas to other countries, which were more crypto friendly. But now, since they got some more rules and regulations out there, it's becoming a little bit more adoptive. But market cycles can affect speculative demand for crypto across both retail and institutional categories. Groh explained when asked which model would prove more durable during bearish conditions. Now, cyclical fluctuations will have less impact where crypto meets basic economic needs. Groh added that, noting that institutional innovation can pave the way to new financial products that serve retail needs. Now we're also seeing stable coins rise. So, well, not rise in price anyways, because they're stable. They're 1-to-1 pegged to the dollar out there, but the adoption of stable coins is rising. So stablecoin adoption rose globally, with USDT processing over $1 trillion monthly, while USDC ranged from 1.24 trillion to 3.29 trillion in monthly revenue, according to report, not revenue, volume. Now, with the passage of the Genius Act, the U.S. has positioned itself to lead in fiat-backed stablecoins and regulation without compromising on compliance, consumer protection, or financial oversight. Nas Eddie Kwok, co-founder and CEO of Bastion, told Decrypt. Now, because of the Genius Act, we've seen more demand in the first half of 2025 than we saw in the 2 years before that, and that was before it had even passed, said Eddie. Now, the regulatory clarity has enabled payment processors like Stripe, MasterCard, and Visa to launch products leveraging stablecoins, while banks such as Citi are muling their own stablecoin launches right now. And again, there's a lot of banks trying to get their own stablecoin, but Bitcoin remained the primary gateway into crypto. According to Chainalysis, accounting for over $4.6 trillion in fiat inflows between July 2024 and June 2025, more than double the next highest category of Layer 1 tokens at $3.8 trillion. The US dominated global fiat on-ramping with over 4.2 trillion in volume, more than 4 times the next highest country. Now, asked about the vulnerability of US adoption to ETF demand shifts, Groh said that the institutional interest extends beyond just crypto as an asset class to moving traditional financial services onto blockchain-based infrastructure. Now, these developments, Groh argued, suggest that structures changes in that they endure market fluctuations beyond just cyclical speculations. So that is so true because, again, like they are moving to at least a blockchain-based infrastructure. Like it really started a couple of years ago with the Avalanche and the California DMV putting titles of vehicles on their blockchain. And then just recently, we got the US saying they're going to put our GDP data on at least 9 public blockchains. They started off with Chainlink and Pyth, I think that's what it was. But then the next day they said, we want to be on at least 9 different public blockchains. So like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Was Cardano a part of that? No, I forgot. But no, they wanted 9 different ones. So everything's going to be blockchainized because, it's immutable. You can't tamper with evidence. That's the biggest issue so far with just our fiat system and just our government. There's no trust in there. It's not transparent. So by having it on the blockchain, everything is completely visible, and it's also immutable where that data cannot be changed once it's inputted in there. So that's why everything's going to shift. That's why everything's just going to shift to the positive now, because again, trust is going to come back, and blockchain and Bitcoin is going to do that. But yeah, so way to go, America, for being number 2. But I'm pretty sure we still got ways to go to catch up to Asia, because that country has definitely been adopting crypto and Bitcoin definitely a lot longer than the US from just all these news articles I've been reading. Now let's talk about some more just adoption news of what's going on around the world. We got Ukraine's parliament backs crypto legalization and taxation bill in its first reading. So is crypto or Bitcoin going to be legalized in Ukraine? Let's find out. The draft law passed its first reading with 246 votes and proposals on 18% income tax, 5% military tax, along with a temporary 5% rate on fiat conversions in its first year. So the Verkhanov Rada, Ukraine's parliament, passed the first reading of a bill to legalize and tax cryptocurrency on Wednesday. According to lawmaker Yaroslav Zelenskynak, if signed into law, the bill would significantly shape the digital asset economy in the country, which ranks among the world's top in crypto adoption. Like we saw in the last article, it didn't say what place they were in, but they were one of the top ones. And according to Zelenskynak, I can't just call him the Z, let's call him Z, and announced on Telegram channel that bill passed the first reading with 246 lawmakers voting in support Now, the legislation draft outlines an income tax of 18% and a military tax of 5% on digital asset profits. And the bill also sets a preferential 5% tax rate on fiat conversions in its first year, according to the announcement. So I guess if you were held on to a year, you might not have to worry about that 5% tax on the conversions, but no, this is just proposals right now. They're still going to mule everything over. Now, the proposed taxation rate of 23% is in line with the April recommendation of Ukraine's financial regulator. The initial recommendation exempted crypto-to-crypto stablecoin transactions, bringing Ukraine's crypto tax system closer to crypto-friendly countries. Now, here is a post on X. Let's see, what is that? The Rada voted in the first reading for the 10225-D legalization of virtual assets. Now, I don't see much point in going into detail now. There will be many changes before the second read. So again, this is just the first of them, and they're going to be discussing it. Now, I don't see much point in going into detail now, he said. There will be many changes before the second reading, said Zelenak. And its translated statement, it is still unknown who the regulator will be, NBU or the National Securities and Stock Market Commission. So they still got to figure that out too. And that's kind of what we're getting with the Clarity Act, which is kind of next and being muled over right now. We got the Genius Act, which was more regulation on stablecoins. Now the Clarity Act coming up is going to be more about, does the SEC control commodities or securities, and does the Fed control the other? So that's where we're going to get clarity on. And looks like Ukraine still got ways to go for that as well. But the Ukraine parliament has been advancing crypto legislation this year as digital assets gain mainstream traction. In June, the Verkhovna Rada introduced a bill to establish a crypto asset reserve, and in August, Cointelegraph learned that a taxation bill would receive its first readings. Now, Ukraine ranks 8th globally in Chainalysis' 2025 Global Crypto Adoption Index. Okay, so now we got their place because the last article didn't say it. But the country scores particularly high in centralized value and received across both retail and institutional categories. Also, it holds a top spot in DeFi value received, a sector gaining traction in Eastern Europe. Now, a window of opportunity has opened for attracting crypto investments and repatriating foreign assets of Ukraine's crypto enthusiasts. Now, Vladimir Nozov, CEO of the European crypto exchange Whitebit, told Cointelegraph that this is a key factor for revitalizing the economy and modernizing the markets. Now, crypto tax discussions around the world. Some more countries are weighing on tax policies for cryptocurrencies as the asset class gains global acceptance. Over the past year, Denmark, Brazil, and the United States have each moved to address crypto taxation right now. In October of 2024, Denmark's Tax Law Council recommended a bill to levy taxes on unrealized crypto gains. In his report, the Danish tax minister said that the bill's approach would be a simpler way to tax crypto. Now, it is still considered a proposal. In June of 2025, Brazil moved to end a crypto tax exemption and impose a 17.5% flat tax rate on crypto gains amid the government's push to raise money through taxation of financial markets. Now, in July, representatives in the U.S. lowered legislative chambers, and they were set to hold a hearing on the framework for a taxation of crypto assets in the country. Now, did that take place already? No, I know we have another article coming up where the Fed is going to be discussing something in October. So we'll get to that in the next article. But no, more and more countries are, they're discussing crypto now. They're actually talking about it. It's no longer this risky asset that only drug dealers use. It's a Ponzi scheme out there. It's like they understand now. Bitcoin is here to stay. It passed $2 trillion in market cap value, well, Bitcoin anyways, and usually when an asset does that, it never goes beneath that again. So Bitcoin has surpassed that threshold, and everyone's just realizing they got to get on board before it's too late. Because again, as they learn about Bitcoin, they understand why it's sound money. It's scarce, it's divisible, it's easily transferable. And also, just the main fact is it's scarce. And we already had El Salvador be the first country to legalize it. They're buying it every day, 1 Bitcoin a day. Sure, they're not going to be the biggest holders of it, but they were the first. And they positioned themselves off so well because they were a small, kind of struggling country, still very beautiful and everything is cheap, but they didn't have a currency at all. They just had the US dollar that was going down. But by adopting Bitcoin, they have definitely improved themselves tenfold. And so everybody is getting on board right now. And looks like some countries are making changes right now because Russia is seeking wider investor access as to crypto as it drops in adoption ranking. So it looks like their ranking and position has dropped, and now they're looking to see how can they bring investors back. So Russia's financial ministry is suggesting easing the requirements for entering the country's restricted and strictly controlled cryptocurrency market. Now, the proposal to lower the thresholds for granting access to digital assets come as the country fell to number 10 among crypto adopters. Oh, so that doesn't mean Ukraine passed them, because I think they placed 8th. So you got the US as number 2, Ukraine as 8, and now Russia dropped to number 10. Now, Minfin urges letting more Russians try crypto. The Russian Ministry of Finance believes it is possible to relax requirements for obtaining the status of high qualified investor, which is necessary to participate in the state-authorized market for crypto assets. In March of this year, the Central Bank of Russia proposed to allow the category to buy and sell cryptocurrencies under a special experiment legal regime for trading and other operations with the digital coins like Bitcoin. Now, to be accepted as a super equal, as the investors are commonly called, citizens need to prove investments in securities and deposits exceeding 100 million rubles, or over 1.2 million US dollars, or an annual income from past year of more than 50 million rubles. Now, speaking to reporters on the sidelines of the Eastern Economic Forum in the far eastern city of Vladivostok, the director of the ministry's financial policy department, Alexei Lakovel, stated that we are discussing exactly these figures. We believe these criteria can be adjusted downwards, and it's being discussed now. Now, quoted by the Interfax news agency, the official made it clear that the Minfin's idea is to expand the list of participants in organized crypto trading within the ELR framework. However, he did not elaborate on how much the ministry wants to see the thresholds lowered. Now, Yakovlev only emphasized that while the criteria should limit the potential cycle of participants on the one hand, authorities should avoid denying access to legal crypto infrastructures to a sensitive part of the population on the other hand. Now, even with few options to acquire crypto in the country, Russians are already holding over $25 billion worth of digital assets, as previously reported by Cryptopolitan. So in light of developing permanent regulations, proposals to reduce this limit may be considered, as I said, so that we have more significant layers of citizens joining the experiment and we can test all the processes, said Lakovev. Now, the Bank of Russia remains opposed to crypto payments right now, but I'm sure that will change. In its recommendation to the government in the past spring, the Bank of Russia also suggested allowing all qualified investors to invest in derivative financial instruments and securities and digital financial assets without direct exposure to cryptocurrencies. Now, the CBR allowed such investments in May, and within a month of issuing a circular authorizing financial institution to offer crypto-based products, Russian investors bought $16 million worth of Bitcoin futures. Now, the Monetary Authority continues to oppose permitting the free circulation of decentralized digital currencies in the national economy, as well as their use for payments. Now, the regulator had been pushing for a full ban on crypto payments outside of the ELR, which allows companies to employ cryptocurrencies for cross-border settlements under the sanctions. Now, currently, Russian citizens are not explicitly prohibited from obtaining cryptocurrency, but in the absence of a centralized local exchange, they mostly rely on foreign platforms. In August, a group of lawmakers urged the CBR to license a network of domestic exchanges. Meanwhile, Russia dropped to the bottom of the top 10 list in 2025 of Global Adoption Index, which was published this week by blockchain forensics firm Chain Analysis, and it ranked 7th in last year's edition. So, dropping 3 positions, that's not good. Neighboring Ukraine, which on Wednesday made an important step toward legalizing crypto assets and regulating their markets, also fell in rank from 6th to 8th place. Oh, I didn't hear about that in the article. Did our last article just say that it gained it? Hold on. Taxation, did it agree? I'm going back to our last article right now to see. We pumped up. Ukraine ranks 8th globally. Okay, so the article just said they ranked 8th there, but it didn't say that they fell from 6th to 8th place. So both these countries need to pick up the slack. So the 2 former Soviet republics saw a surge in crypto usage in the years after Moscow launched its full-scale invasion in early 2022, fueled by fiat restrictions in the Ukraine under the martial law, and then sanctions in the case with Russia, severely limiting its citizens and companies' access to the traditional financial channels. And yeah, I remember when that was all going on, it was like, Ukraine can't do this, Russia can't do that. But at the time, I'm going, Bitcoin solves this problem, and I think they're finally kind of understanding that. But yeah, so Russia is seeking now to make some changes. Like, sure, their bank doesn't want to do it right now, but they kind of have to since they dropped from 7th to 8th position. And then Ukraine, same thing. They got to make some changes right now. And so hopefully with this change of potentially legalizing crypto, that can bump them on up. Now, before we take a quick break, let's talk about the next meeting happening in the US. So the Fed is to host an October conference on stablecoins and DeFi, as well as AI and tokenization this coming October. So Governor Christopher Waller said last month that the central bank had begun examining the implementation of tokenization, smart contracts, and AI in payment systems. Now, the Federal Reserve Board will host a conference focused on payments and innovation on Tuesday, October 21st, exploring topics including stablecoins, decentralized finance, artificial intelligence, and also tokenization, according to a Wednesday press release. He said that innovation has been a constant in payments to meet the changing needs of consumers and businesses. Now, I look forward to examining the opportunity and challenges of new technologies, said the Governor Christopher Waller. But according to Waller, this event will serve as a forum to evaluate emerging technologies, share ideas for improving payments infrastructure, and hear from those driving innovation in the sector. Now, the announcement follows Waller's remarks last month about the central bank's interest in studying tokenization, smart contracts, and artificial intelligence to enhance its payment systems. Now, speaking at the 2025 Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, Waller said that these technologies could streamline payment operations and strengthen private sector collaboration. He also pointed out to the potential of stablecoins under the Genius Act and the use of AI for fraud detection and a trend analysis. Now, the upcoming conference will include panel discussions examining the convergence of traditional and decentralized finance, emerging stablecoin use cases in business models, AI applications and payments, and the tokenization of financial projects and services. So that's what's going to be taking place this October 1st. I definitely look forward to hearing that because, again, to learn in this space, guys, you just want to soak up as much knowledge as you can for what's going on. Sure, when you actually want to play around with it, you got to get hands-on, have a crypto wallet, maybe go to a decentralized exchange, make some trades, just get comfortable with it. Those are hands-on, but to actually learn about this space, you want to soak up as much information. So whether you're here watching the show, Stephen, Gary, thank you. And so, yeah, if you're watching the show, this is you gaining information, just realizing, like, I'm trying to pull up, like, at least the most pertaining news articles. I don't want to cover, like, price predictions, because again, they're just predictions. I want the solid facts, like what's happening around the world, and that's showing me where it's going to go even further down. And then again, you want to listen to these conferences, hear what these guys are talking about. They're actually in the game. We got Governor, we got Eric Trump, we even had President Trump at the Nashville Bitcoin conference last year. So again, like, you want to hear these discussions happen. Let's get a little bit more insight, and let's just builds you a little bit more confidence in the space as well. So if you're wondering about crypto, blockchain technology, like, this is just one of the steps you need to do. Also, read a book. We have tons of books here at the club where you can come in and just pick up a book and start reading. There's tons of them. Like, a good one out there I would recommend is The Bitcoin Standard. I didn't really read this book right here, The Promise of Bitcoin, but I know it's a good one. This one's by Bobby Lee. Oh, Bobby Lee. Is that Charlie Lee's brother, the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee? That's his brother, Bobby Lee, and he actually created the Ballet Wallet, this little kind of nice little gift wallet you can have, gift people cryptocurrencies. But no, so yeah, definitely just pick up a book, follow the news, and also, yeah, watch these conferences when they take place. But let's take a quick commercial break right now, and I will be right back with just a couple more news articles for you. So see you in 1 minute.
Attention visionaries and pioneers, the future of wealth is here, and it's spelled Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Introducing the exclusive Loans for Bitcoin program at the Bitcoin Men Crypto Club, where your good credit unlocks 0% interest loans for up to 2 years, or term loans up to $250,000 spread over 7 to 12 years. Why wait? Use this capital to acquire the world's fastest appreciating asset, Bitcoin. With prices hovering around 94,000 and projections aiming much higher by the year's end, the time to act is now. Leverage isn't just for Wall Street anymore. Arbitrage the low cost of your loan against Bitcoin's explosive growth. It's smart finance for the modern investor. And privacy matters. Our no KYC Bitcoin purchase program ensures you buy and self-custody your assets in your own wallet. Your keys, your Bitcoin, your future. And as the world shifts to digital currencies, be ahead of the curve. front-run corporations, governments, in this greatest financial revolution of our times. I'm Jay Bose, CEO of Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. Call or text us today at 941-413-6920 and get started on that loan application. Secure your legacy. You will thank yourself tomorrow.
Sorry, guys, taking a little vape. Smoking in my office. But yes, guys, we have tons of offers and programs that you can take advantage of. Even if you're not local near a crypto club, we have tons of programs you can take advantage of. That's our loans to Bitcoin. You can get more information at bitcoinben.io or go to bbccprograms.com and you can take a look at a quick little brief interview of Home to Hodl. We have our loans for Bitcoin. We have a Bitcoin beef initiative, clean beef. That's always hard to come by as it gets more expensive. We have confidential bulk Bitcoin purchases. So you can confidential, so you don't need an exchange. Government doesn't need to know you're buying. So we have that opportunity. We even have a Bitcoin mining program as well. And then are we partnered with them? But I know we like using the Fold card though too. It's a great way to earn Bitcoin just on everyday life. It's a prepaid card and you earn Bitcoin back. So definitely check out this site to get some more information about our programs. But let's continue on with the news. What else is going on? We're going on with some altcoin space news. And precisely XRP. What's going on there? Coinbase wallet shows that a massive XRP cuts is happening. What's going on? So let's find out. So data shows that crypto exchange Coinbase has made a surprising shift in XRP holdings by reducing its stash from more than 780 million XRP to just around 200 million in a matter of weeks. According to data from XRP Scan, Coinbase's total XRP holdings have fallen by a massive 69% from its most recent Proof of Reserve report. Notably, this cutback comes at the time when institutional players like BlackRock are increasingly entwined with Coinbase operations. Now, Coinbase has slashed their XRP holdings. So once the fifth largest exchange holder of XRP, Coinbase has now slipped down to 10th place after reducing its balance from approximately 780.13 million XRP tokens to just 199.47 million. Now, this represents a staggering 69% reduction since the second quarter of 2025. With a 57% plunge in just the past month, such a huge cutback in Coinbase's XRP holdings within a short period of time can only be attributed to outflows from institutional investors. So I guess people just taking custody of their crypto. Now, at the time of writing, Coinbase has 11 cold wallets remaining, each holding 16.5 million XRP tokens each. Now, this is a massive fall from early June numbers of 52 cold wallets that Coinbase had, holding 970 million. Now, according to XRP Wallets, an XRP commenter accounted on the social media platform X. Interestingly, XRP Wallets also hinted at possibility of these huge movements being linked to BlackRock. Now, BlackRock is a suspect due to the nature of its recent collaboration with Coinbase. The collaboration, which was announced in early August, was done to allow institutional investors easy access to digital assets directly through Coinbase. Now, although Bitcoin was initially the focus, the partnership has mostly likely expanded to XRP due to its growing demand among institutional investors. Now, XRP wallets suggest that retail dominance in exchanges. So right now, all that's left in Coinbase's XRP wallet might be mostly XRP held by retail traders, so the everyday average Joe. Now, XRP wallets also speculated that other major exchanges such as Uphold, Binance, Upbit, could eventually show similar balances, around 200 million XRP each. Now, once Ripple's distributions move through the system, by their estimates, this would leave about 1 billion XRP across exchanges and another 900 million resting in retail cold wallets. Now, although the numbers were framed as guesses, so they're just guesses, they relate to the idea that institutional channels are absorbing XRP, leaving exchanges increasingly as platforms for retail activity. Interestingly, other crypto exchanges like Upbit, Uphold have also seen their XRP holdings fall massively within the same time period as Coinbase. Now, Upbit, for instance, saw its XRP balance fall from 6.03 billion tokens to 5.84 billion. Now, Uphold, on the other hand, saw its XRP balance fall from 1.9 billion to 1.7 billion, so there is reductions happening. Now, XRP is still trading below $3, the resistance level, after repeated rejections this month, which has left the crypto's near-term trajectory in question. Now, reduced exchange balances often points to decreasing sell pressure, which could help support the price stability at the time of writing. Now, XRP is trading at $2.83 at 0.8% of the past 24 hours. So what does this really say about XRP and the crypto holdings out there? To me, when I saw this article, it just tells me that like people are taking self-custody. They don't want to trust like a third party holding on their money, because that's the whole point about cryptocurrencies. You are in full control of your finances now. You're responsible for where you hold it. You're responsible for how you spend it, and then you're also responsible for just account for everything. Because again, you have the chance to be your own bank now. So like banks, like you would usually have a bank vault, so you want to make sure you have a vault, a separate wallet just to keep your crypto on that you would make deposits and withdrawal into. Then you have a separate wallet on your phone, 2 separate wallets. That way you do everything on here, leave your vault untouched. This is just security and safe practices out there. But this is just showing me though that people are like taking self-custody. Now, I am not an XRP holder. I have nothing wrong with the token itself. It's mostly Ripple I don't like, who are the creators of the token, and how they can always release a certain amount of tokens. They have just so much in control of it. So like, I just don't like it. But hey, it's not going to stop me from helping anybody who wants to be able to acquire it and just learn a little bit more information about it. I can help. Again, I'm not biased to any crypto news that comes away. If XRP has a bullish news article, I'll cover it because it's news. It's for the people out there. But do I hold it? No. But again, you guys can invest in whatever you want. I got my coins that I like. Bitcoin's definitely being number one. I enjoy Litecoin. I like the Theta network. And then I have a couple like micro altcoins that I'm just playing around with for the alt season when it hits, because I want to take those gains and move it into Bitcoin, because that's my final goal out there. But yeah, so that's our XRP news out there, and just also good news that people are taking self-custody. Now let's move into some like now scams that take place. Like earlier this week, we talked about the Venus protocol and how they had a hack of like 13.5 million. Now, usually that's just gone forever. But right now, this usually never happens. But they recovered the user's 13.5 million stolen in a phishing attack. So way to go. Now, victim Khan's son praised Venus and partners after 13.5 million recovery, calling it a battle we actually won through joint effort. So way to go. Because again, usually when you get scammed, like it is done. Like there is no getting it back. But again, there's always that very, very slight possibility that something could happen. But let's see how they did it. So decentralized finance lending platform Venus Protocol helped a user recover stolen crypto following a phishing attack tied to the North Korea's Lazarus Group. On Thursday, Venus Protocol announced that it had helped a user recover the 13.5 million in crypto after the phishing incident that occurred on Tuesday. Now, at the time, Venus Protocol paused the platform as a precautionary measure and began investigating. According to Venus, the pause halted further fund movement, while audits confirmed Venus's smart contracts at the front end were uncompromised. Now, emergency vote enables fund recovery. So an emergency governance vote allowed the forced liquidation of attackers' wallets, enabling stolen tokens to be seized and then sent to recovery addresses. Now, Kwan's son said, "Hey Gus, I'm the victim of the recent phishing attack on Venus. What could have been a total disaster turned into a battle we actually won, thanks to an incredible group of teams. Here's my gratitude." Now, attackers exploited a malicious Zoom client link. So this has happened on a Zoom link, and I've heard this before, actually, with one of our partners in Vegas. But in the post-mortem, Venus revealed that the attacker used a malicious Zoom client to trick the victim into granting delegated control over the account. Now, this allowed the perpetrators to borrow and redeem on the victim's behalf, enabling them to drain millions in stablecoins and wrapped assets. Now, the protocol security partners, Hexagate and Hypernative, flagged the suspicious transactions within minutes, leading to the decision to pause the protocol, according to Venus, and then the recovery process unfolded in less than 12 hours. So Kwan's son, who was identified as the victim of the attack, thanked the teams behind the recovery, and what could have been a total disaster turned into a battle that we actually won, thanks to the incredible group of teams, Sun wrote. Now, PeckShield, Binance, and Slowmiss also assisted in the recovery process of it. Now, phishing attack linked to the Lazarus Group. Slowmiss analysis linked the attack to the Lazarus Group, a North Korean-backed collective blamed for major crypto heists, including the 600 million Ronin Bridge exploit and the $1.5 billion Bybit hack, which that was the biggest hack in history. And luckily, the exchange right there, Bybit, they had enough funds to be able to solve this, so they didn't go insolvent. They didn't have to sell everybody's crypto just to bail themselves out, so they were able to survive this. But that was a huge hack. Now, Sun said Slomis carried out extensive analysis work and was among the very first to point out that Lazarus was behind this attack. Now, the Lazarus Group is a North Korean linked hacking collective believed to operate under the country's intelligence agency. So yeah, they have a group in North Korea that is always trying to hack like anybody they can. I think they even had people applying for jobs like in Coinbase, Binance, like top exchanges out there just to gain more access to potential victims. They can get their data, put out a phishing attack. Because again, most hacks in crypto aren't just like a very sophisticated group of people that go into your computer, they go into the code, they break the system, they steal. Like that rarely ever happens in space. The main part of like scams that happen is user error and like these phishing attacks. Like you may get an email claiming to be Coinbase, maybe Binance, saying, "Oh, something happened. Please click on this link." That is the main cause for scams that take place in the space. So when you're involved in crypto, just be aware of what you're clicking on. Like if you get an email from like one of your platforms, just take a step back. Don't click on anything. It's a lot safer to not click on anything. And like if you want to do it yourself, look at the user email name, like who actually came from. If it was from Coinbase and the person and the email actually said it was Alex from Australia, you know that's not a Coinbase person. So that's like one telltale sign. But also like just being a part of these crypto clubs here, like you have the ability to give us a call and let you know if you are being scammed or not. Like we have more insights. We've been in the space a lot longer. Or if you just like give us like just a little bit of detail, like we can probably just tell you that's a scam right there. Don't do anything. If you did, I am sorry, but there's really nothing else we can do about it. Just the steps is get the transaction ID, report it to the police, FBI, that's it. So usually there's nothing that can happen. Because like when I saw this article, like I'm really stoked for it because again, this rarely ever happens where they can actually recover funds. So yeah, guys, so be safe out in the space out there. Again, it's mostly user error, so we gotta be on top of our own security out there. Now let's also look at another scam that's taking place right now because we want to be aware of these scams. That's why I say pay attention to the news as I cover these articles, because as long as we know what these hacks and scams look like, it helps us at least be aware of it when it does come around. Now, hackers find new ways to hide malware in Ethereum smart contracts. And Gary, after this article, I will talk about Theta. I think I saw like 2 Twitter posts. I'm still completely bullish on it. But hackers find a new way to hide malware in Ethereum smart contracts. So Reversing Labs researchers uncovered 2 NPM packages that used Ethereum smart contracts to hide malicious URLs and bypass security scans. So we gotta be a little bit careful. So how can we stay safe? Let's find out. So threat actors have found new ways to deliver malicious software, commands, and links inside Ethereum smart contracts to evade security scans as attacks using code repositories evolve. Now, cybersecurity researchers at digital asset compliance firm Reversing Labs have found new pieces of open source malware discovered on the Node package manager. Now, that package repository, a large collection of JavaScript packages and libraries in there, the malware package employ a novel and creative technique for loading malware and compromised devices. Now, smart contracts for Ethereum's blockchain, Reversing Labs researcher Lucia Valentek said in a blog post on Wednesday that the 2 packages are Color Tools V2 and Memeli B2, and they were both published in July, and they abuse smart contracts to conceal malicious commands that install downloaded malware and compromise system is explained by Valentek. So this is showing like this type of scam right here isn't really for the everyday user out there like me, you out there here in the chat. Like this scam is for the coders. Like they're playing around, they're actually downloading software, trying to build something on a blockchain or whatnot. So they download a code that they should not have done. So again, so if you get into code and you want to really be sure, like it's a safe download. But to avoid security scans, the packages function as simple downloaders. And instead of directly hosting malicious links, they retrieve command and control server addresses from the smart contract. Now, when installed, the packages would query the blockchain to fetch URLs for downloading a second stage malware, which carries the payload or action, making detection more difficult since blockchain traffic appears legitimate. Now, this is a new attack vector. So malware targeting Ethereum smart contracts is not new, but it was used earlier this year by the North Korean affiliated hacking collective, the Lazarus Group. We hear about them a lot because they basically are the main hackers of the world. But what is new and different is the use of Ethereum smart contracts to host the URLs where malicious commands are located and downloading the second stage of malware, said Valentik. He said that this is something that we haven't seen previously, and it highlights the fast evolution of detection evasion strategies by malicious actors out there who are trolling open source repositories and development. So pretty much using like GitHub out there, which is the main source for downloading code. Now, an elaborate crypto deception campaign, the malware packages were part of a larger elaborate social engineering and deception campaign primarily operating through GitHub. Now, threat actors create fake cryptocurrency trading bot repositories designed to look highly trustworthy, though fabricated comments, fake user accounts created specifically to watch repositories, and multiple maintainer accounts to simulate active deployment. And this professional-looking project descriptions and documentation. Now, threat actors are evolving. In 2024, security researchers documented 23 crypto-related malicious campaigns on an open source repository. But this latest attack vector shows the attacks on our repositories are evolving, combining blockchain technology with elaborated social engineering to just bypass traditional detection methods. Now, these attacks are not executed on Ethereum, and in April, a fake GitHub repository posing as Solana trading bot was used to distribute obscured malware that stole crypto wallet credentials. Hackers have also targeted Bitcoin Lib, an open source Python library designed to make Bitcoin development easier. So again, this is what's going in place. This is like evasion tactics going on. Like scammers are evolving, they're just progressing. But again, this isn't for like me and you because we're not usually downloading like some code, just like improve a blockchain, make our own token or whatnot. But again, this is more for the coders out there just to be aware of it if you watch my channel. Now that is it for the news, but Gary, you're asking about Theta Network. What's going on there? Let's take a look. I saw some Twitter posts out there, so let's go to X and take a look at Theta. Usually it's always my first homepage when I click on it, so it's super easy. But let's see. This was on August 26th. We announced that South Korea's Ewon Women's University has joined Theta's growing academic partnership. So we got still more universities adopting the Theta Network's Edge Cloud network to improve their AI technology. Let's see, just 3 hours ago, so if you're an Android wallet user, the Theta Android wallet app has been updated to v5.3.0, now fully supports Android 16, optimizes for edge-to-edge devices for a smoother immersion experience. And then there was one other article that I saw, yes, right here. A new Edge Cloud agentic AI bot is now being tested in Theta's Discord. So this new agent, trained on crypto data and knowledge of Theta, can learn from the community and conversations and proactively educate users about crypto to join the channel to test and train the agent. So this is being tested on Theta's like Discord channel, but this can be implemented like to probably to our partnerships with like sports teams. Like we have like 2 NHL hockey teams. We have like the Knights in Vegas, and there was one other. They were using Theta's Edge Cloud to make their mascot, their little AI mascot, be able to answer questions. But no, like this new technology allows the AI system to learn from conversations within the group and also still teach them as well. So Theta is really progressing on the AI sector. I think I saw an article where like, is like Theta about to like be the next blue chip? Like, where did I see that? Let me see if I can scroll down. We have ThetaCon Europe going on. Let's see. Let me type in Theta on here, see if I can find that quick little news article. Let's see, where was it? Theta, You can just see me scrolling really fast. Theta's ranking, top institutions are right here. It was this one. Theta's network's fascinating infrastructure to be enough secure success for Theta. So decentralized and AI media. So again, Theta Network is powering decentralized AI and media apps out there. So Theta Network has transformed from just a video streaming solution into a comprehensive infrastructure that powers AI media applications. The platform tackles inefficiencies in centralized systems by utilizing user-shared resources for content delivery, computing, and storage across multiple sectors. Now, this transformation shows how decentralized systems can compete with the traditional cloud providers, and Theta has reduced costs while democratizing access to high-performance computing resources and positioning itself as an essential infrastructure for the next generation of digital applications. So Theta is killing it in this space. So those are my news. Like, it's the New Jersey team. That's what it was, yeah. So Theta is still killing it out there. They're still building, like they're improving their edge cloud. They're definitely got involved with the AI space. They just evolved so much further than just decentralized video streaming. That's when I got on board. I thought that was cool, and I was like, yeah, let's get this going. But now going into the AI field and like competing with the traditional sectors out there, making it cheaper to utilize the system, just shows that they are going to succeed. Because why would you use the other guys when you can use something cheaper? And this just doesn't make sense right there. Now, Yep, that was it for the news article, guys. I was like, wait, what was I talking about? Let's take a look at our fear and greed index right now. Let's see, we are currently at a 44 neutral, so we're still out of the fear territory. Bitcoin, when I checked this morning, we're at 111,000. Looks like Bitcoin just dipped to 110. Ethereum still just hovering sideways at 4,300, but money is still flowing into Ethereum. So soon we'll probably start seeing money flow into the altcoin or the large cap coins, and then that would lead into altcoin space. Solana is at 200. I kind of saw an article what could push it to $1,000 per coin. I think that had to relate to if we actually get a Solana ETF. And Cardano is at 80 cents. So again, people are still, they're kind of losing faith, but the retail people are losing interest in Cardano, but big institutions and big players for Cardano see this as a great buying opportunity because they know where Cardano is headed. But that is it for the news, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I gotta go get ready for our crypto class today. We're gonna do it on stage. We're gonna do it live. Steve Blanca from Nashville's club is going to help us out. We're going to have Heidi Carlson. So if you want to attend the class on Bitcoin as sound money, join the club or check your email if you're already a member. So everybody have an awesome day. It's Thursday. We are one day away from Friday. You guys can do it. So I'll see you tomorrow with more crypto news. Peace.
In a world where your data is constantly under attack, one company stands for your digital freedom. Introducing Calyx Solutions, your gateway to ultimate online privacy and secure cryptocurrency trading. Meet the Liberty Laptop. With its modified OS and advanced tracking prevention, it's your shield against surveillance. Access restricted areas, use recommended security software, and browse with confidence. Your digital footprint? Virtually non-existent. For the crypto pros, we present the Crypto Laptop. Pre-configured on premium hardware for secure trading. Optimized for your favorite wallets and exchanges, it's the fortress your digital assets deserve. Both laptops come with expert individual training and support. You're never alone in your journey to digital empowerment. At Calyx Solutions, we put you in control. No more worrying about data breaches or compromised transactions. Ready to join the revolution? Visit calyxsolutions.io and choose your perfect laptop today. Plus, become an affiliate and earn while sharing the power of digital freedom. Calyx Solutions. Unlock your digital freedom. Give us a call or text at 702-845-8276 or visit us directly at calyxsolutions.io.